Hey guys, Carlo Filippo in here, your muscle chef, ready to talk to you about this guy, the chicken pound. What do we do with the chicken pound? We prepare grilled chicken in different flavors, 6 to be exact. If you're serious about bodybuilding and you meal prep, don't go anywhere else. This is the company for you.
You want to safeguard your health, maximize your immune system, grow muscle, and lose fat faster? Prova Immune is not herbs and spices. It's not a proprietary blend. It's patented. It's a one-of-a-kind product. It's backed by science from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Prova is a protein antibody. It's different. It's real science and gets real results. Check us out at prova.com.
RX Television on RxMuscle.com. This is Ask Dave, better known as hashtag Ask Dave, brought to you by Specie Nutrition, as well as a host of the company that Dave's going to be talking about in just a minute or so. Lot to talk about. Again, this show covers all your questions on diet, training, supplementation, IFBB pros, competitions, and the rash of cancellations and postponements, unfortunately, continues this week. The Pittsburgh Pro canceled, Toronto Super Show canceled, Junior Nationals canceled. So it is a very dark time right now in terms of competitions, but as well as everything going on in the world. I mean, especially sporting competitions, you're not going to have any sort of athletic competition at least for another 2-3 months. But again, we hope you are all staying safe. Hope all your families are staying safe. As we now bring in Dave Palumbo. Dave, we did this towards the beginning of the quarantine period. Well, we're going to do it again. SpecieNutrition.com, another mega sale across the website, 35% off for the next 2 days.
Yeah, guys, let me just tell you, I was against it. My wife, Amanda, who runs the companies, was for it, and Sid was for it. I said, we can't do it again. They said, we're going to do it again because, you know what? People need to get their supplements. They need to keep their immune system healthy. They need to keep their bodies healthy. This is about health right now, because the healthier we are, obviously, the better we can resist this virus. Or if we do get it, get over it quicker. So 35% off. Make sure you get that V-Mineralize, your Omega-Lize. Get your protein powder so you don't have to worry about buying a lot of chicken and fish and meat in the stores and fight the lines over there. The entire site is 35% off, but only today. It's Wednesday and Thursday. At 11:59 on Thursday, the sale's cut off. So you got about 48 hours to go out there and get your Specie stuff, restock. If you haven't tried the products before, this is a great opportunity. That is a huge, huge discount. I don't hear Sid. Uh-oh. So I guess I got to talk. Well, guys, this will give me the good opportunity until we get Sid. Oh, there we go. We got Sid back.
I turned the microphone on mute. Our producer Tyler was talking to me during the break, while you're talking, whatever. So, yeah, I just wanted to make sure you don't hear things rattling out over here. You have a shirt on that says no. People are probably wondering what that means. And then, of course, Dave, you have a lot of products sitting in front of you.
Nope, not today. I just liked it. Hey, you know what? I very rarely do I see a shirt in the store because everyone sends me free shirts now, because I always say, if you guys have your own clothing, you send it to me. I wear it on the show, free advertising. But I saw this in the store. I like blue shirts. There's only a certain shade of blue I like, and I like this blue shirt. So I figured, you know what, Snoopy being on it and everything like that is not a big deal because I kind of like this peanuts growing up. And not today means I am not giving in to the virus, to the depression that goes with it, to the anxiety that goes with it. Not today. And that's what you guys are going to say to yourself if you're not in a good mood, if you're down, if you're feeling bad about losing your job or maybe not having a gym to train at or whatever the case may be. Not today. You're going to smile today. All right, I got to plug a few things, but it's not really a plug. They're not even our sponsors. I like to show you guys cool stuff. And Branch Warren and Scott over at Wicked Cuts here, Scott James, sent me their beef jerky product. This stuff, I got to be honest with you. I don't really like beef jerky. You know, I know Tyler does. I know Sid. I think you like beef jerky.
I love it.
Yeah, my wife Amanda loves it. I don't really like the beef jerky, but I got to tell you something. This stuff is so moist. It's so good. And like I said, I'm not getting paid by them, so I don't care. It literally melts in your mouth. I'd eat it, but then I'd be chewing in your ears for the next half hour. No, but it's soft too. It doesn't have that like leathery texture, and it's really, if you read the ingredients, there's no artificial stuff in there. There is a little sugar in here, but it's all natural. And I think that this is like a great snack if you guys want to have access to some protein, but you don't want to have like a whey protein shake and you want some real meat, some real manly meat. There you go. Wicked Cuts. Check it out. All the proceeds are getting donated, 100% of them. We're going to have Branch Warren on the show a little later on Iron Debate, and he'll tell us a little bit more about this. But guys, thank you for sending this over to me. I greatly appreciate it, and Tyler does too. Now, our good friends Ron and Bruce Cardenas, Ron, who was the former owner of Quest Nutrition, Quest bars, you guys all know those. I've been with, we were basically, hand in hand from the very beginning. And then they sold that company for $1 billion. Well, Ron took some of that money and started another company called Legendary Foods. And I got to tell you, he sent me a bunch of stuff the other day. My favorite being what flavor is this? Brown sugar cinnamon pop. Well, it's not called Pop-Tarts because you can't use that name. It's Tasty Pastries. But this is a protein Pop-Tart, essentially. It is unreal. If you guys like Pop-Tarts, these things taste just like, I think they taste better than Pop-Tarts, to be honest with you, and they're good for you. They also sent me their nut butters. This is my favorite, the blueberry cinnamon bun flavored almond butter. If you don't want almond butter, you want regular peanut butter. My kids love the peanut butter chip, peanut butter cup flavored peanut butter. They have it in jars, but they also have it in these little packets, like I guess for carrying around. My kids they'll drink the packet. They just suck it right out of here. And then my favorite is the almonds. They have packets of almonds that have different flavors on them. They have ranch. They actually have a cheddar and bacon. There's no real bacon in here, but it really tastes like a bacon cheddar burger. And then this one is the buffalo wing flavored almond. So all healthy foods. I love it, especially in the times of quarantine. This is great stuff. Go to Legendary Foods website. You can check it out. You can buy all their stuff on there. Super high quality. You know it's coming from Ron over there, the former owner of Quest. He only makes good stuff. Once again, no sugar in any of this stuff added. So guys, thank you. I love when people send me free stuff, and I try to put it out there. If I like the stuff, if I think it sucks, I kind of just put it on the shelf and I don't really talk about it. But I don't want to put anyone down. But if I like something, I'm going to really promote it because I think that they're doing great stuff. And I love the fact that these guys, Branch Warren and Scott James, are donating all these proceeds to charity. So keep up the great work. What else did I want to? I think I wanted to talk about the app, but we have some app questions. A lot of people don't know, but a lot of people do know that I have something called the Palumbo Experience app, and it's basically all my videos, all my writings in one place. Plus, we put a week. I always have a problem saying this. A workout every week. We put a new workout up so you can follow on the app. I also answer everyone's questions on the app so that everyone sees it. I put all the questions, all the answers in an open forum there. People see it. I do a question answer video, almost like a little Ask Dave every single week for the app members only. No one else gets to see that. It's exclusive. It's a great resource to have at your fingertips on your phone. You go to the Android store or the iTunes store and you can download it to your phone. It's $29 a month. It's your own personal trainer in your pocket. You got me, basically. You can ask me questions. You got all my writings and all my videos in there. I'm telling you, it's worth it. I wish I had that when I was coming up. Someone to ask questions to, some place to research and look at, different diets. And, I have everything on there. All my stuff is on there. So you guys might want to check that out. And on that note, Sid, good lead in right to the questions.
On that note, again, reminder, specienutrition.com, 35% off the entire website, good through tomorrow, Thursday at 11:59 p.m. First two questions from the Dave Palumbo Experience app. The first question, Dave, at what point, number of carbs per meal, should I start the cyclical diet or low carb diet? Is 30 grams per meal still okay? And then less, and then that drop to keto?
I start mostly men off of some days protein, carbs and some vegetables, and some days protein fats, which would be the ketogenic diet. Except you're not in ketosis if you're not doing the ketogenic diet every single day. So it's not really a ketogenic diet. I sometimes call it a cyclical ketogenic diet, but it's really not, because on the protein fat days, you're not in ketosis because you've been eating carbs the day before. So what I do is I'll start, but I do this because there's no reason to start people on zero carbs unless they have an enormous amount of weight to lose. So how many grams of carbs do I give each person is dependent on how much they require. So if the guy's 280 and has a fast metabolism, he might get 50 grams of carbs per meal, times 5 meals out of the 6 during the day. Usually the last meal before bed, I don't give people carbs. But if the person has a slower metabolism and only maybe weighs 160 pounds, I might, whatever, I might only give them 30 grams per meal or 20 grams. It depends on the person. So the customization of what I'm telling you is what I call a cyclical ketogenic diet is dependent on the person. So I can't give you a blanket statement because I don't know what your metabolism and what your metabolic needs are. But that's how it works. So I might start people with 3 days of a carb-based diet and then 1 day of just protein and fat, and in a cycle like that. And then by 6 weeks out, we might be doing 3 or 4 days protein, fat, only 1 day of carbs, or none. We might be on a completely ketogenic diet. It really depends on how the person progresses. And that's where the coaching comes in. You can see my program. I can give it to you for free, and it's on the app. I put it all over the place. But that doesn't mean you can apply it. It's how you apply it is the coaching skill behind it. So I have a lot of people who've taken my guru course, and a lot of people who've worked with me who've taken the diets that I've given them, and now they use it on their clients, but they apply it according to the way their coaching skills are. And that's what makes it great. It's not that I'm only I can do it. Anyone can do it. You just have to have experience with how to apply it to different subsets of people.
Second question, again from the Dave Palumbo Experience app. Dave, at what point, Dave, I've been on TRT for 2 years now. I'm ready to do another growth phase. Would you suggest a full cycle or just initially increased test?
Once again, you're asking me a question that really is a personal decision. You've been on TRT. Do you want to do a full-blown cycle and put some size on, then do the full-blown cycle. There's no reason to kind of tween it. In other words, you don't have to take mini steps up to the cycle. If you're doing TRT and now you say you're ready for a cycle, do your cycle. Don't go in the middle, because in the middle you're not going to get that much. You're not going to make that many more gains. But yet you've increased your testosterone dosage, so your receptors are being flooded with more. So if you're going to do a cycle, do a cycle. If you're going to stay on TRT, stay on TRT. If you want to go off and clean out, then go off and clean out. You can't go back and forth and try to tiptoe around. That's not the best way to do it, because at some point you do need to clean out. You'd be silly not to. Okay, so if you're going to go and try to put some size on now, or whatever the case may, do a contest diet, do a regular cycle.
Time now for our Instagram questions. Again, if you're not following us on Instagram, our handle is official_RxMuscle. Like we've done in the last few weeks, we will take a couple of questions related to the lockout, related directly to the virus, and then try to mix in others from just around the bodybuilding landscape. First one is from JFootball247. Question about vitamin D. How much vitamin D should you be taking a day? How many IU should you be taking?
I used to recommend 5,000 all the time. And what I found, at least in myself and a few other people that I work with, I was looking at blood work, we were still coming up a little low. Because you should be at about 50 on blood work. And when you take 5,000, usually you're at about 35 to 37, which they may tell you is normal on the blood work results, but really you should be over 50. So I found you need to do about 7,000. So what I tell people to do is, if you take, let's say you're taking my V-Mineralize multivitamin, multimineral. There's 2,000 in there of vitamin D3 already. So all you need to do is go buy, a bottle that has 5,000 IU capsules, which is very easy to find. Life Extension makes one. They actually make one with sea kelp in there, which is, has iodine, source of iodine, good for your thyroid gland. But you take the 5,000 in addition to the V-mineralized. If you don't take V-mineralized because you're silly, you go and just buy a 7,000 IU capsule. That seems to get you into the normal range almost all the time. So once again, if you're asking my opinion, it's usually 7,000. But then go for blood work after a month or so of taking it, and you'll see what your values are. Usually you're over 50 at that point, and that's what you want.
Let's go to Neil Zalewski. I don't know if you would know the science behind this, but would thymosin alpha-1 be effective in helping treat the virus as it was with SARS?
There's no real data. Could it hurt? I don't think it could hurt. If you have it available, and we know it's an immune system modulator, meaning it helps the immune system work better, try it if you got it. I know Titan Medical makes a version of it. I think I have some sitting in my refrigerator, believe it or not, but that I haven't used yet. The point is that it can't hurt, but I don't think you absolutely need it to get over it. I think the most potent, punch that you can give the virus, and I mentioned this really early on, was the zinc chelate, chelated zinc, combined with some kind of source of quinine. Now, if you can't get the prescription for the hydroxychloroquine or the chloroquine, you can try to go on Amazon.com and get quinine pills, or in the last resort, you can get diet tonic water, or regular tonic water just has sugar in it. That's why I don't like it. But tonic water is a lot less quinine in there, but I think it'll be I think it could be as effective. I don't think you quite need as much as people think of the quinine. Once again, the quinine opens up the ionic channels, allows the zinc, the positively charged zinc, to get into the cells and then inhibit the replication of the coronavirus itself. If the virus can't replicate, your immune system cleans it up and it goes away really fast. So that's the most potent 1-2 punch you can give it. If you listen to the news, they're talking about adding Z-Pak, which is azithromycin, which is an antibiotic. For some reason, it has. They think it has effectiveness, and they've shown that it has some effectiveness also at inhibiting the virus. Once again, if you don't have access to that zinc, you can get chelated zinc in my V-mineralized formula, and quinine. You can go to the supermarket and get diet tonic water, or you can buy just quinine pills online. That's readily available. You don't have to leave your house really to get that. You can order it right online. So that's something that you should just have in your house. If you get the virus, you get symptoms of it, start taking it. That's my suggestion.
Question from South D Champ. This, I don't know how long you want to go with this, but you could probably do an entire episode on this one question. Yeah. Have you had any shady encounters when buying gear?
I have a lot of stories. Yeah, I have a lot of stories. But someone robbed my house once. I'm not going to say who it was. And I 3 weeks later, someone called me, a friend I hadn't talked to in a long time that I kind of had a falling out with, and he told me who. And I got the guy back, and it was like a scene from a movie. It was, people do crazy stuff. Bodybuilders are very jealous and stuff like that. And if someone robs you or something like that, it's always someone you know, because strangers don't just come into your house and rob. You know what I mean? I was living in my dad's house too. My dad always kept the door open. It was like a friend of mine actually came in and took stuff, and he didn't know that I knew and found out, and I had to get him back. Luckily, I never had any. I didn't deal with I dealt with bodybuilders. I wasn't dealing with drug lords on the street, having to buy stuff. I guess if you're dealing cocaine and ecstasy and heroin, you'd have a lot better stories than mine. Mine are just dumb bodybuilders just doing stupid shit. But I had a lot of crazy, silly stories like that. You know what? It's great not to have to deal with that stuff anymore. It wasn't a part of my life I was proud of. I did it because I was a bodybuilder. I needed to get what I needed, but. In hindsight, man, it would be so much smarter if the government just made this stuff legal by prescription, so that people could just go in honestly with money in their hands or a credit card and go into the pharmacy and buy what they need. I mean, come on, guys. They're making the sport all sport essentially, anyone who uses performance-enhancing drugs, they're making you seem like a common criminal selling crack on a street corner. It's terrible. Bodybuilders don't want to be involved in that. They're being forced into doing it because of the fact that we have such a puritanical, uptight society that they can't just say, okay, some drugs are really not that bad for you, and that if they're done under the supervision of a doctor, that they can be properly administered. Because you know what? Not everyone's playing NFL football. Some people just want bigger biceps, just like some women want bigger breasts, and that's why they have breast implants available to plastic surgeons. So, that's a whole other topic of debate. Obviously, we can talk about that ad infinitum, but unfortunately, that's the God-honest truth.
Let's go to Carl Borley. Would you still do body weight exercises and cardio if you had no weights in the lockdown, or would you just take 3 months off, however long it was, till you got back in the gym again?
I would never take 3 months off, ever. Never, ever. Anyone who takes 3 months off because they don't have a weight room to train at is a real loser, okay? That is a poor excuse not to work out. If you guys go and watch my Heavy Muscle Radio Show podcast this past week, my friend Vinny Manzo made a video because he had told me he had gone to Home Depot and bought cinder blocks and a metal poles, a metal piping, and he made his own weights. I said, oh, well, can you take a video of it? I want to show it to our audience. So Chris Aceto and I talk over the video while we play it. You can see it. You can do every exercise with these cinder blocks he bought. He probably spent $20 on cinder blocks and two metal pipes that he taped together. You can do curls, bent rows, deadlifts, squats, overhead extensions. You can take the cinder block and do, overhead triceps with it. You can do every exercise you can think of with this thing. There's no excuse why people are not working out now, except that they're lazy, okay? What did guys do before there were, these commercial gyms like we have? They worked out in the basement using, cement, basically. I saw another great video on YouTube. I posted on my Facebook wall. It's these guys making their own plates creating their own cement in a mold. They put like a thing in the middle, so they make the hole for the plate, to put on the bar. They make the whole weight room by themselves out of cement. And to me, that's a crazy, awesome DIY project that you can do. Now, I'm not telling you have to go out and make your own weights go that crazy, but people are sitting home bored out of their mind. Be creative. Go to Home Depot, put your mask on, of course, first, and your gloves and your sanitizer. Go to Home Depot, go to Lowe's, buy some cement blocks and some metal piping, and go home and be creative. Come on, man. Don't be a loser. Only losers sit home and cry about the fact that there's a great quote from one of my favorite movies, The Rock, and I think it goes something like this. I don't want to ruin it. Losers always cry about that they can't. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen, and that's the truth. If you want to be a winner, okay, you want to have all the accolades of a winner, you got to do what it takes to get the job done.
Similar question. We talked about training. Well, this one's about diet, and it is a good question because I guess this is not an angle that we may have asked about over the last two, three episodes, but surely when you're locked down for upwards of a month, this does become a factor. It's from Alexander Jeremasov. Tips on how to stay consistent with your diet while locked at home. All I do is thinking about food since there's nothing else to do, basically eating out of boredom. And I think that's something that a lot of people watching can relate to as well.
I was just giving my sister this pep talk. She was telling me, I'm eating too much food, I'm home, I don't know what to do. I said, look, you're a Palumbo. She's got a bigger mouth than I do, believe it or not, if that's possible. Louder than me, and I know I'm loud. I said, why aren't you doing your own YouTube channel? Sit home, create a YouTube channel, I'll send you the video editing software. Put an iPhone with a little, they sell these little selfie sticks that turn into little tripods. You put your iPhone in front of you the long way so you get HD video, and you talk into the thing and you post a video every single day on YouTube. Who cares who listens to it? I guarantee you if you got something to say and it's interesting and you're funny, and my sister's very funny and very, she's also with the mannerisms because she's got the Italian in her. You can make your own YouTube channel, and that's a creative project that you can pour yourself into. And then what happens is once you start playing around with the video editing program, you start getting creative. You put some royalty-free music in there. You start putting some titles in there and some special effects. You upload it to YouTube, you monetize it. Before you know it, you just made yourself a salary, and instead of sitting home crying about not having an income, you're making some money from doing a creative project at home. You guys have to have, that's why I always tell everyone out there, and you've heard me say this before, you gotta have something other than body. You gotta have a hobby, okay? My hobby is like, right now, breeding reptiles, okay? I breed, snakes. Before that, when I was back home, I was doing fish tanks. I had aquariums all over the place. I had 16 fish tanks. You gotta have something else to do. So when things are not going well, like right now, you can pour yourself into that creative endeavor. And nowadays, with YouTube, everything is monetizable. So whatever your hobby is, you film it. Okay, I saw some guy, they do this thing where they strap some little thing on their back and they fly around on the thing. I don't even know what it's called. I forget what it's called. I see it as insane, but they got the what are they called, Tyler? The GoPros on their head, and they're talking to people while they're flying around, up in the sky like nutcases, just waiting for the engine on the thing to fail, and then hopefully the parachute that they got that they're flying around on is gonna take them to the ground. But I was watching it because I'm like, I found it fascinating. I like a little bird's eye view into other people's hobbies. So if your hobby is playing video games, film it. If your hobby is putting together model airplanes, film it. I didn't even know this, but the iPhone has that time lapse function. You could turn like a 2-hour clip into 80 seconds. And once again, this is something you can edit into a video and put online. So guys, find a way to make yourself another stream of income while you're home doing nothing, sitting on your butt. You can do it right from your house. You have no excuses.
Let's go to Ian Redskins NYC. Good one here. Dave, did you have sleep issues like sleep apnea when you were north of 300 pounds during your prime? Very common amongst bodybuilders over 250 pounds.
I did. I believe I had sleep apnea, but I didn't really know it because no one really had identified it at the time. It wasn't to the point where I was exhausted all day long like some people. But then again, at that point when I was that big, I really wasn't working. So I would stay in bed and I would sleep extra, that's all. I sometimes would wake myself up from snoring, which I would assume meant that I was probably, holding my breath or something like that. But I really wasn't a snorer before I got heavy. So like right now, at the body weight I'm at now, I don't snore anymore. So mine was basically weight related. I know some people that snore no matter when they were 100 pounds, they snored. Those people, when they gain weight, what happens is they can't breathe. So if you have severe sleep apnea, you definitely need one of those CPAP machines. If it's not that severe and you only have a couple episodes and you feel like you're getting a restful night's sleep, then don't worry about it, It's when it's disrupting your life that you really need to do something about it. I probably would have done better with a CPAP machine when I was that big. But once again, they weren't around and no one knew about it. But I guess mine wasn't bad enough because I didn't have any problem growing, that's for sure. And I would always take a nap during the day for some reason. If you do have problems laying down and sleeping, sometimes it's good. You can sleep in a recliner chair if you want to. But I would personally, get one of the machines. You probably only need it when you're really heavy. When you're dieting down, you'll probably be breathing much better. That's what I would know. When my body weight came down, I didn't really have the snoring problem I did when I was off season holding a lot of fluid and stuff like that. But, sleep apnea is dangerous. You can die of it if it's bad enough. So don't ignore it if it's disrupting your life.
Let's go to NSJ16R. I watched an interview with Dexter Jackson, and he mentioned taking a drug that shrunk his intestines to get rid of his bubble gut. What drug would that be, and is there anything over the counter that would do something similar?
No one's taking any drugs to shrink their bubble gut, all right? He said he had some food allergies, basically, some stuff that he was allergic to, and maybe he wasn't digesting his food well, and he insinuated that he was taking some digestive enzymes. If it worked for him, fine. I don't think he improved the situation. Look, once you stretch out all this connective tissue here, you're not gonna get rid of that little bit of roundness, okay? What you can get rid of is if you have bad gas, okay? And what I'll tell you is, and I'm sure Dexter, he didn't really say what he used. One of the things that are really instrumental in bringing that gut down is fiber. And I discovered that, probably midway through my career, that I needed to take a fiber supplement, and that's why I was really backed up. And that's how I first got into fiber and started researching it. And then when I started Species, I said, I got to make the fiber supplement that I would have wanted to take when I was competing. And that's why I made Fiberlize. And it's funny, I've got a lot of emails from people telling me, you know what, I always thought Metamucil and regular psyllium husk was just as good as yours. And then you did a sale and I tried yours. 35% off, guys. Go to speciesnutrition.com. I tried yours, and Dave, you know what? You were right. It's way better. And the reason is because we use a very high swell rate psyllium, so it's more potent than just the regular psyllium husk you'd buy generically in the store, or even the Metamucil is. So once you use fiber and you start cleaning your gut out, okay, you'll notice that your stomach goes. You're not going to get that bloating feeling in the stomach. The abdominal thickness you get from being 300 pounds or super, Dexter, he's only 5'6", so 5'5", whatever he is, at 250 off season, that's big for him, So when you're that big and you have that much muscle, that sticks out a little bit. And then what happens is the fascia that surrounds the muscle as we get older stretches out a little bit, so now your abs don't hold themselves in as much. You can't fix that, okay? So you're still gonna have that, but you can fix the internal environment of your gut. If you have a lot of inflammation in there, if you guys have seen the show I did on the Purova product, you can see it on our website. We ran a commercial prior to the show. Purova is a protein that inhibits the phosphodiesterase 2 enzyme in the gut, and that will reduce inflammation in there too, and that will take down the inflammation in there, which will obviously keep the distension down as well. But you're not going to cure a physical issue. You're going to cure only an internal, inside the gut, bloating issue. And that, once again, you could also take a good probiotic. And I recommend food-based probiotics like Bubby sauerkraut, okay, and coconut kefirs, because once again, if the gut bacteria are healthy down there, it's going to protect the lining of the gut. You're not going to get as much inflammation as well. But in my experience, okay, of doing this a very long time, a good fiber supplement will do 90% of the work of getting that gut down in size. Most people have a lot of fecal retention in their gut. Even though they go to the bathroom a lot, they think they do. But if you're eating 6 or 8 times a day, you probably need to go a lot more than you think you need to go. So I'm telling you, try Fiberlize twice a day. I promise you'll say, oh my God, you fixed my problem.
Time for a couple of more questions. One from Salaciousness. Should I use the keto diet to get rid of water and fat, or is low carb good enough? If you have time, can you explain how cyclic keto diet works?
One more time, Sid, because we had a little interruption here.
Yeah, no, so he wants to know if you should use the keto diet to get rid of water and fat, or is low carb good enough? And then furthermore, if you could touch upon how the cyclic keto diet works.
Well, I kind of talked about the cyclical keto diet, ketogenic diet earlier today, just doing some days of no carbs and then some days with carbs. But, you could lose weight on a low carb diet. I mean, you don't have to be in ketosis to lose body fat. I mean, just lowering your carbs, you're going to lose weight. So the reason I like the ketogenic diet at a certain point is because if your carbs are so low already that they're almost nothing, you're just eating just enough carbs to keep yourself out of ketosis. You might as well go into ketosis at that point because you're going to feel a lot better. Because when your brain is burning fat for fuel and not carbs, what happens? Your blood sugar is stable all day long. You don't get mood swings. You don't get cravings, okay, for sugar. Your brain doesn't want it anymore. It's like you've detoxed it off the sugar. It is looking for fat, and your body has plenty of fat to turn into ketones for the brain to use for fuel, whether it's through the food you're eating or through the stored body fat you have in your body. So the question is, do I go ketogenic or do I just stay lower carb? And once again, I'll keep people lower carb until I think it's at a point where they're just suffering unnecessarily. Women, I put them in ketosis immediately because when you go into ketosis and you deplete all your glycogen down to almost nothing, to just a maintenance level, you don't hold any water. Women love not to be bloated. If you get them not to be bloated, they will follow your diet religiously for the rest of their life because they hate that, okay? So women do very well in a ketogenic diet also because they do need fat in their diet, because when you have a lot of estrogen in your body, which is most women who are premenopausal, okay, estrogen measures how much fat is coming into the body, and if it doesn't see enough coming in there, it will hoard fat in the lower body of women. And that's why you see some women that are leaner on their upper body and fattier on their lower body, because they're not taking enough dietary fat. In order for a woman to take in enough dietary fat and still lose weight, something has to be gotten rid of. And we're not getting rid of protein, so carbs become an obvious choice. So when you put a woman on a ketogenic diet, you're giving them the fat they need, they're getting enough protein to sustain their muscle mass, and then the carbs are super low, insulin's low, they're in ketosis, they feel good, and they're burning, and they're in a true fat burning state. in every sense of the word, and that's naturally. So we've induced a state in the body hormonally that is conducive to fat loss. Okay, when you're eating carbs and you're producing a lot of insulin, okay, insulin is a fat storage hormone. It's very hard to lose weight, especially for women in the presence of high insulin. So we want the insulin levels to be as low as possible. The lowest we can possibly get them is on a ketogenic diet, and that's why I think it works so well.
Final question from Andreas Zach. Dave, when you look back at your off-season during your competition career, drugs, calories, food sources, sets, reps, would you have changed anything when you look back at how you conducted your off-season?
Maybe early on, because I wasn't eating enough fat in my diet, and I was eating sources of protein that were too lean. Like I was eating a lot of tuna and rice only. I wasn't eating enough red meat. I wasn't eating enough like fatty fishes like salmon and swordfish and stuff like that. And once I started incorporating more of that into my diet, and even more saturated fats, I was like, I don't think I had a gram of saturated fat for the first 3 years that I was bodybuilding. And boy, did my body respond well when I started eating, saturated fats, like I said, red meats and whole eggs and McDonald's every once in a while, and then more often as toward the end of my career. I was a depriver, but that came from my running background. And you got to remember, the 80s was an era of deprivation. The typical bodybuilding diet of the 80s was moderate to higher carbs, high protein, but like super lean sources of protein and no fat in your diet. So you basically ate super lean chicken. People boiled their chicken. They had tuna. They had white or brown rice. They had potatoes dry. No one used like macadamia nut oil or olive oil. No, people didn't eat fat. It was so restrictive, the diets, and I think that really restricted muscle growth to a certain degree. You can get lean on a diet like that, but the people don't realize that the muscle cells are made up of fats as well, the cell membranes. How do you repair muscle if you're not giving your body enough essential fatty acids? And that was a big flaw in a lot of the 80s diets. Now, when you go back to the 70s, Arnold's era, they ate a lot of red meat back then. So they were really low carb guys back then. So they actually were eating better for bodybuilding back in Arnold's day. They ate whole eggs and they drank whole milk. And then we got to the 80s and we're like, oh, we can't have any fat, because that was what the government wanted us to know. They said, stop eating fat, it's causing too much heart disease, which was bullshit. It was the carbs, actually, but no one knew that. And so everyone stopped eating fat in their diet and people just started gorging on carbs. Now, bodybuilders got away with it because we had good metabolisms and we were using them. Most of America just got more obese. And that was the super spike as the 90s approached. And the obesity epidemic came from the government telling people stop eating fat, and they made all these fat-free cookies and pastries, and they said, oh, this is great to eat, just don't eat fat. And that's when they introduced high fructose corn syrup into the food supply. So I blame the government, once again, just poor education of the masses. Think about it. If all the stuff we talk about on this show and all the stuff I talk about in my course, and I've been saying for the last 20 years, was taught in school to school-age kids on how to eat properly, we wouldn't have an obesity epidemic. People would know how to eat. People just don't know. Not everyone wants to eat like a pig. There are people that like to eat junk food and that's it, and they're going to be fat no matter what. But there are a lot of people that want to eat properly but just don't know how, because they don't teach that in school.
That's going to do for this episode of Ask Dave. Reminder right now at specienutrition.com, 35% off store-wide across the whole website through tomorrow night at 11:59 p.m. Once this deal is done, it is done. 35% off at specienutrition.com. For Dave Palumbo and our producer Tyler Shore, I'm Sadiq Faruqi. We'll see you next time.